I thought after lunch I get to have some dessert, but she had a real surprise sprung on me where she says, now ma'am, we request you to take over the session in the afternoon as a panelist. Well, this is an offhand thing, so I'm going to try to do my best because I think we have too many eminent principals here right before me. Well, the topic of this afternoon is, I think, very, very important for us. As it says that it's breaking barriers towards access and success, technology as an enabler in inclusive education. So I begin with this point that we've already had in the prior session. It's extremely important to access whatever information there is. But again, as teachers and educators, we need to understand how much of it is enough and how much is too much. If we need to be moving towards success, obviously, we cannot say that we haven't grown up with technology, and we've all been in the process of getting familiar with it, and fortunately all of us are somewhere up there now and pretty familiar. But the thing is, if you're looking at India, which is a very vast country, we're talking of technology. It's accessible probably in the cities, and now it's going to the second tier of towns. But then where do we stand when it comes to rural India, where we have a large segment of learners and educators there? My concern, if I may get back only to the education sector, is there are a lot of opportunities that one should make use of when it comes to accessing whatever is available. I think it's a lovely platform where we can actually share data, and for those of them who are in other parts of our country who need a little bit of assistance and guidance and none of it is available there, it would be a lovely thing for them to actually access to and get some kind of an information about the best practices from all over the world, just not in our country. But again, when we're talking of rural India, we have technology snags. I mean, I'm looking at this whole thing so beautifully set up. And, you need people to assist them initially, at least, to ensure that they get a hands-on and training. And that's where I guess the private partnership would really help. A social responsibility of all the corporates would definitely help. And donating of teaching hours in terms of actually getting them familiar with technology. Because if we believe that with a click of a button, there's a lot available for the learner himself, and he can access that information, then yes, I'm sure there'll be lots of teachers who are also concerned saying, but there's a lot of uncensored stuff also available on the net, and that happens to become our biggest challenge to say, how do you let children actually surf the net and not get into sites that are unwarranted? So I think we're looking at one side, the importance of that, and on the other side, we're also talking of bridging the divide between those who are not economically sound and also gender bias. Now, you know that in the villages that lots of girl childs, especially the girl children, are kept at home to take care of the sibling, to cook while the family is away working in the field, so on and so forth. If there could be a system where we could share this kind of an information and get everybody back on fold, where it actually, kind of becomes cheaper for them, for the family to actually educate, I think it would be, a good way of sharing best practices. And this would probably speed up, what our country would have taken a much longer time. I'd like to also share that one of the speakers this morning was saying that, they have one teacher handling all the subjects. Now, it's not practical. And we know it's not possible even for a principal. So let's, not say that we can do it all in all the subjects. I don't think any of us seated here have the competency to do maths, physics, science, and everything, especially at the senior secondary level or the secondary level. All subjects, it's very, very difficult. So I think, sharing of this knowledge, for them, web-based classes, so on and so forth, or satellite relay and things would be an ideal situation. But again, we also know the power condition, especially in our state. We know that, agriculture is an integral part of our economy, and we realize that the power shortages there to even water the fields is far more important. Now, unless the government decides that there's going to be a solution to that, to see that power is available in every village, where does ICT stand? So I'm looking at these minor hitches, and unless there's some kind of a partnership whereby the teachers get trained or the students get trained in the usage of this, then where do we stand and what are we talking of from access to success? I think it's a beautiful thing. It is it's definitely a possible thing. It's a lovely roadmap. Only thing is we've all got to walk the talk now and make it a possibility. So I think we have quite a few other eminent speakers. So I think offhand, this is what I wanted to share, and we will take off from here the discussion. I'd like to, now probably invite each of the panelists. I'd like to begin with Mr. Hariharan, CEO, High Commands, Learning Simplified. So kindly take your seats, sir. I think here on the dais here, absolutely. Mohammad Afzal Hussain, Server, Content Developer Associate, Access to Information Project, Prime Minister's Office from Bangladesh. We welcome you warmly to this afternoon session. We also like to welcome Krishnan Khanna, Chairman, I2K, and S. Venkatesh, Tech Architect, EduRite. May I now invite Mohammad Afzal Hussain, Server, to kindly present his paper.